Hey, what's up, everybody? We'll be starting in just a couple minutes here. Just give everybody a chance to jump in. Hey, what's up, Diamond? Hey, everyone. Yeah, thanks for joining. If you guys have any questions or is there anything you specifically want to talk about, just jump on up. Feel free to ask away. I'm just pretty pumped for Max Payne tomorrow. Supposed to be at $5 on AMC. Actually, yeah, it is supposed to be at $5. It's at 450 actually. So if we could manage to stay near $5, that would be ideal. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it'd be nice. Is that next week? Max Payne's at $10. Just sharing the link in the Discord here and Twitter as well.
Marcel, can you explain Max Payne for myself and anyone else who may not be familiar with the significance behind that? If you don't mind.
Yeah, definitely. One second. It's basically the open interest, and every morning the open interest is calculated by the Options Clearing Corporation for the next day's session. So we're looking at 450 is a Max Payne tomorrow, and a current stock price of 497. It was $5 a little while ago, but you know how that goes. So the highest call open interest strike is $5, and the highest put open interest strike is $4. There are 101,386 open interest and calls this week, and 54,777 put open interest, which is a ratio of like 0.54, which is pretty bullish in my opinion. But you know how shorts are. Hedgie's going to short. Yeah, basically it's the calculation from the Options Clearing Corporation that tells us how many shares are basically going to have to be used to hedge, if that makes sense. So the strike basically with the most contracts, and that's why the market makers always try to pin a stock at that price in order to cause the most loss for the largest possible number of holders, of contracts holders. They make a lot of money off options until they don't. if that makes sense.
Yep.
If you guys remember, but back in June of 2021, I remember having options contracts that I bought for the $40 strike when the stock was still around like 10, 11 bucks. And I think I was paying 18 to 23 bucks for those contracts. And a couple of days later, when the stock ran up to like 77 share, then things got crazy. And my contracts went up to like 20,000 a piece. So the $40 strikes were up to like 6,500 and 8,500, and then ones closer to the money were over 10, 20 grand per contract. Excuse me 1 second, got to get this call right quick. Yeah, but that was fantastic. Last June, you know, going from 18 to $23 per contract to 6,500 was a lot of fun, you know. And of course, I took that money, put it right back in AMC and APE. Well, that was before APE, but that was AMC and then other contracts. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's a good question, though. A lot of people don't understand what max pain is. It's not all too complicated. Got a couple people requesting. Bring them right back. Bring them up right now. You know what, Diamond? If you're hanging out for a little while, you don't mind if I add you as a co-host, just in case the space. You know how Twitter could be pretty laggy and crash sometimes. If you don't mind if I add you as a co-host.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right.
On the computer.
Cool. That way it doesn't collapse if my Twitter crashes, because if you're the host and there's no co-host, if Twitter crashes, it just brings it down with it.
Yeah, I'll be here, brother.
Cool. What's going on, AMC8? How you doing?
What up? Currently just sitting on the couch watching White Chicks.
That's great.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I don't usually talk on these space calls and everything. I'm more of kind of just a listener. But it's so weird, and I don't mean, and I'm not trying to like. I'm just saying shit in passing. Going from one space to another, you know what I'm talking about, boss. The whole disclosure thing, which I'm not getting into or anything, but they were just explaining you were trying you legally had to say something because you did it in front of a bunch of people, so you had to disclose, like, and that's what they were trying to explain, that like, but somebody wasn't trying to hear it. They got in an argument. I left the space, but
Oh, earlier today? Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. Yeah, and but they were just talking now, and one of them actually was backing you up and did the actual research and brought it to everybody's attention that, yeah, that's the way you have to do it. Like, if you buy in a certain amount in front of a bunch of people, you have to disclose when you sell. And I mean, earlier today it was a clusterfuck and everybody was arguing, but one of them went out and did the actual research, and they were coming back like, yeah, you were right, boss.
Yeah, I know. I know. I didn't come up with it myself, you know.
Right.
So, like, there's attorneys for that very reason, and yeah, if you buy a certain amount of securities on a stock like that, and then like AMC or APE, for example, you make a bunch of money. If you don't disclose when you sell, the SEC is going to come knocking, you know.
Yeah,
and
that happened with C-Pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that they were just talking about that. They think that's why you got the $25K fine.
Oh, you got a slap on the wrist if it was only $25K for him. To be honest with you, you know, that's cheap. if I was only going to get, if I was worried about only getting fined 25K, you know, I would not have disclosed anything. But no,
not worth
it's a
all the
lot more
bullshit.
serious. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. You know, a lot of people sadly don't understand, and others, you know, just speak without knowing that I ever made that kind of purchase online. You know, I put it on YouTube, I put it on Twitter, and naturally, if I decide to make some movements in that account, I'm going to let people know, so they don't think
Yeah.
that I'm, you know, front running the trades or anything. And mainly it is for my own.
You're cutting out.
Things like that from ridiculous amount.
Boss, you
If people like the decision or not. Oh, excuse me, one second. There's a bad reception area right here.
Well, get out of the bathroom.
Just heading back from the liquor store. Had to get a pack of smokes. My wife's truck's in the shop, and my truck's she's got my truck, so I had to get an Uber from my good friend here, the Uber driver. Hey, buddy, do you invest in stocks? Go left here. No. No? Okay. I'm gonna give you a little tip. It wouldn't hurt to look into a stock by the name of AMC. You know, the movie theater. Check it out, my friend. There's over 4 million people invested in AMC. It's made a lot of money in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised for it to make people a lot of money in the future. Yeah, thank you too, man. That's better than any tip. I mean, I gave you a small tip, but that's better than any tip I could give you. I promise you. Thank you.
He's not lying.
Dude, that's gonna invest in shit. He's gonna see that like 10 years from now and be like, "Oh fuck." I don't.
That'd be awesome if he actually goes out and looks into it and does his due diligence and decides to buy some AMC and gets filthy fucking rich off of it. That'd be great.
Yeah, but you didn't specify that it's not the car company.
What? Oh, AMC, the car code? Oh my God, that's so ancient.
He's
I
gonna
told
go out
him
and
the
buy
movie
10,000
theater.
shares of that.
I told the movie theater company look into it. You know.
Poor guy. My
I tell everybody, bro.
I know. My point of view is you can only bring the horse to the water. You can't make him drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, sir. Completely right. But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, by all means, throw them at me. We're pretty fun today. Nothing's really changed about the thesis that, you know, before I ever invested a dime in AMC, when I did all my due diligence and really started diving deep into it in early 2021, after the January run, that's what got my eyes on it. One of my buddies told me, "Hey man, look at what's going on with AMC and GameStop." I'm like, "Holy shit, this is crazy. Who's this DFV guy?" You know, because everyone was talking about him. And then I saw him on TV in front of court, in court in front of, what was it, congressional hearing or whatever the hell. I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is big news. Like I need to do some more homework on this." And I came to the realization that the majority of these banks, not the majority, all of these fucking banks, the banks are ridiculously over leveraged. And then I started looking into the hedge funds and the family offices like Archegos, and I realized they're ridiculously fucking over leveraged. And I started looking into the swaps, and the rehypothecations, the shorts marked as long, the FTDs, everything that happened with them pulling the buy button. And I realized these assholes are going to crash the entire financial system because they're so fucking over leveraged that the only way for this to actually have a proper mother of all short squeezes is going to be a stock market crash. And a lot of people are looking at the market right now like, well, it's almost at it's at 400. You know, the SPY's back at 400. The market's not crashing. I'm like, yeah, this is just another pump. You know, it's another part of the cycle. You know, the stock market crashes don't take a day or a week or a month. They take years. You know, and I remember 2008 really clearly. You know, I remember I was managing my mom's 401k at the time and a little bit of money that I had. And that was a fucking madness. You know, I felt so bad for so many people. And then in the years after that, you know, I was a real estate broker and stuff. And I remember going from, showing people homes to not showing any homes and only showing apartments, and in 1 year I rented out like, geez, I don't remember how many it was. I think it was like 56 apartments and I sold one home, and I was like, holy fuck, like people are getting destroyed. People are getting destroyed.
Yeah, my mother-in-law recently told, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were just talking about stocks and everything because I got her to buy $1,000 worth, but that was at $65. Now she's been hounding on me ever since, and I'm just like, if you want to sell me your shares that you bought, I will be glad to buy them from you. And then she's like, no. But anyway, she told me she's lost 50K in her 401k since all of this, and she's 5 years away from retirement. And that shit's it's fucked up. What they take the money from the 401ks and they throw it into shit bets, and with no fucking regard.
Absolutely, they don't care what the hell's going on with your 401k. We are, as retail investors, with 401ks and all these, IRAs, thrift savings plans, we're just bag holders to them. They want the people, the American people, people around the world, to hold the bag for them so that they can get out when the time is right, and sadly they put the 401ks and the pensions right up at the front of the line to lose that money,
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Eric? Yeah, it is bull. I agree.
Boss, what's up, buddy?
Just hanging out, bro.
I hear you,
my
man.
Thursday here. How about you?
It's going, man. I'm just kind of winding down a little bit. Man, I just want to say I thought you handled yourself earlier today. I don't think people realize how priceless it is about how much time that, you spend on doing your DD, sharing information about banks and the economy, AMC. I kind of got a little passionate earlier about it, and, because a lot of people don't do what you do, and you don't have to do all that stuff, man. But, I just want to say I appreciate it. This one gentleman just mentioned about the AMC car company. What's funny was my first car was a 1979 AMC Concorde. My grandfather passed that down and stuff, and now I'm in this AMC play. I don't know if that's some kind of, weird sign and everything, but really hope it pops off. I'm waiting for tomorrow. I think Mullen's supposed to be coming out with some type of 10K filing tomorrow. I know I had a little concern with BBIG, but I think I'm really excited with Mullen. See what's going to go with that. I guess my question is a little bit with you. Do you feel like today was a little controlled? A little bit before 3 o'clock, I feel like they were just really controlling the price with AMC at 501, 502. Like they really try to keep it over about $5 and stuff. But it's nice to see those green days. But I'm just ready for all this stuff to happen, man, so we could be all fucking rich. So appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Today was a really interesting day in the markets in general. We're getting to a ridiculously high level of short covering. People, please understand that there's a big difference between covering shorts and closing shorts. Okay, there's a huge distinction there. And today, shorts rolled tons of positions throughout the markets. To be completely fair with you here, or just upfront with you, there was the most short rolling happening right now in many months. As a matter of fact, the Goldman Sachs short rolling index was up 16% over the last few days. And that's huge. That was at around $128 a share on that index, up to $146.72 today. That's an increase of 72, and that's like a derivatives basket basically that shows the amount of rolling of shorts, short covering. It's not closing out. That just means that they're closing, you could say closing a position, but we call it covering. They're covering a position by returning a short and then taking out a new borrow. So that's why we call it rolling, just like if you were like roll a contract further out and stuff, Yeah. So
let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, buddy. Hey,
No,
so
you're
I
okay.
got a buddy of mine that he keeps telling me about this days to cover. Like BBIG is at 12 days to cover. At one point,
Hmm.
AMC was at 7 days to cover. Now it's at 5 days. Do you think he's trying to bring those days down to cover, or I mean, I don't know if that has some type of significance or impact of anything, or if it's just shit. Because I mean, they're going to do what they want to do.
Isn't it the higher the days to
Or what's
cover,
your
the
thoughts
better
on
it
that?
is?
Well, for us, yes, but here's the thing: is when they roll their short positions, it reduces the cost to borrow and the days to cover, and that makes it a little bit less expensive for the shorts, even though the cost to borrow is still over 200%, the max cost to borrow. And I'm pretty sure the average cost to borrow is still well over 200% as well. It's just a little bit lower than it was yesterday, But again,
Oh,
that's
so when they
because
bring it
they're
down,
returning shares.
okay, so when they bring down the days to cover, the cost to borrow goes down. That's why they
But
do
when they
that.
return, the cost to borrow, I think, I don't want to lie to you here, but it's not
Oh,
like
that's cool.
on a weekly. I think it's like
APR
on a
or
monthly.
year.
Yeah, AP. I
Uh-huh.
think it's on a yearly basis. Like
Right.
well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, with the days to cover, that means like how many days it would take for them to return all the reported shorts. Reported
Right.
only is the key word. We all know there's a bunch of shorts marked as long, a bunch of unreported shorts, tokenized securities, rehypothecations, married puts, calls, blah blah blah. I could go on for an hour, but the
Right.
reported shorts, if they were to spend just consistently to return shares, they would take them that many days to return all the reported shorts, uh, period. You know what I mean? So the higher that number is, the more reported shorts are out there and the longer of time that it would take them to return them. Yeah.
All right.
So it's,
Appreciate it, brother.
yeah, no problem, dude. No
Hey,
problem, Eric. Good question, man.
5 day long squeeze that's gonna happen at some point.
What's that, bro? Could you
The
repeat that?
days to cover, is that like if they started right now, 5 days for them to buy back all these shares?
Yeah, that's the estimated time it would take for them to buy back all the shorts, if they wanted to close out all the reported short positions. Only reported. That's the key word, right? We all know how bad the manipulation is on the markets. So truly, it's probably, who knows, right? 10, 20, 30, 40 times that amount for those days, when you really think about it.
So
Exactly.
that basically means like we can't like sleep through the MOAS here. It's gonna take like pretty much like a week of trading, if that,
That's a good
5
point.
days to see the most amount of price action going north.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to sleep through it. If they check the market at least once a day, or keep set alerts. Setting alerts is key. For everybody. Email alerts and things like that. That's number one way to know what's going on. Yeah, I definitely don't think that it's going to be a 1 day thing. As far as no, I don't think that the MOAS is going to take 1 day. Like the very tip top might be pretty quick. It might be microseconds
Sure.
for that highest number. But I think we all know that that's going to be some sort of ridiculous number. And yeah, I don't expect anybody. Well, somebody will be that legend that timed the top, that sold at the very tippy top, right? Somebody will be, inevitably, just by chance. But no, we'll never be able to time the top perfectly. That's why I'm adamant on taking profits when you get to ridiculously high numbers. For me, taking profits on the way up and on the way down, is key for me, as far as licking my ice cream before it melts, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, just to get like.
Hey, boss. Hey, have you had a chance to check out that Madoff on Netflix, man? What's your thoughts on that, man? When I watched it, I just thought about Ken, man. I swear, it was just like they're tens.
Ken Griffin's daddy, right?
Exactly, man. That shit was crazy,
Dude.
dude.
I haven't seen it yet. I saw that it came out and everything, but I've been really busy studying for the securities industry exams. So
Awesome for
if
you.
I'm not in here or hanging out with my family, I've been either taking care of business. I've got a couple businesses, and you know, or just studying and taking practice tests for those security certifications. You know.
Oh, well, good luck
So-
to you, man. I'm sure I'll nail it, man. So I'm happy for you. That's
Thanks.
good stuff.
I took the first one, the first practice test, without opening a single. Well, when I took the first, I should say this was a while ago. I took the first practice test. You needed 70% to pass. I didn't open a single book. I just went off like the knowledge that I've learned over like the last few years here and my lifetime in the market. And I got a 65. So I was
Oh.
pretty proud of that. You know, it's like an hour and 45-minute test. I didn't cheat. I got a 65%. I need 70 to pass. And then on the next one, I cracked the book for a little while, and then I passed the next practice test. So I was
Oh,
pretty
that's
pumped
awesome,
about that. I was happy, you know
Hell
what I mean?
yeah.
Because I didn't think you'd expect to get half of them right. Yeah, but I got more than half right, thankfully. But
That's
yeah, it was
awesome,
cool.
man.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, it's fun. You know, it's a fun adventure for me personally. You know, like I'm always trying to better myself, trying to be a better person to my family and just in general. You know, and I think that's a good next step. And if I really want to make real change, that's the way that I'm going to do it. It's like we can all be here, and I mean, of course, buying and holding, right? Buy and hold and buy some more. That's going to make change. That's going to cause big problems for the shorts and affect some sort of change. But if I really want to help retail to get the most bang for their buck, we got to take their orders away from payment for order flow brokers. And we got to, because when they go through payment for order flow, they go direct, they trade on the OTC, you know, on the OTC markets. So even though it's not an OTC stock, they're traded over the counter when you trade on payment for order flow. So the best way to do that, and the brokers that do it now with payment for order flow, they don't automatically direct your order to lit markets. You have to go in, and only certain brokers allow you to do this, right? Like you know, like IBKR, Fidelity, I think. I don't buy too much with them, but I have them, and a few others, you know, E-Trade and such that I've got. They allow you to direct your orders to lit markets, to like Investors Exchange. That's IEX. So a lot of people hear people talk about IEX. IEX stands for Investors Exchange. And you have to manually route your orders in there, and it's a real pain in the ass. They make it complicated. You have to have the professional version of the app, all sorts of things. And if you've got like the free version of like IBKR, for example, you can't direct route, you know, and if you try to do it from your phone and you don't do the right settings, it won't let you. You've got to do it from your computer and shit like that. So it's inconvenient. It's purposely inconvenient. It's difficult. It's confusing. They make it a pain in the ass. Okay, go eat it. And so, and so I think that if I really want to affect real change, is what I decided, you know, in 2021, that I'm going to have to do something to help people send their orders to lit markets, and that's the best way that I can. Yeah, that's great. It's anybody can talk a big talk, right? But it takes a ridiculous. Sorry, honey, you can't put it there. You're going to break it. Anybody could talk a big talk and say, you know, okay, I want to make change, but you know, in order to affect real change, we've got to play with the big dogs. And in order to play with the big dogs, it takes an absolute shitload of money, you know. And I don't have all that money myself, but I've got partners and investors and other things like that do have a good amount of money, and combined we can do big things. So that's why we've been working so hard on Lit Exchange. That's the name of my company. And we are not currently we're not a licensed broker dealer. I'm legally obligated to tell you guys that as well. Right now, but we're in the process of getting the FINRA approvals and everything, the FINRA licensures through them. And in order for me to work as the CEO on the floor of a broker dealer, I have to get these 4 certifications that I was telling you about, which are the SIE, the Securities Industry Essentials certification, and the Series 7, Series 63, and Series 24. So that's why I'm doing that, you know, just to try to really help retail. Sorry, give me a second. My daughter got bit. One of my kids bit my other kid. It wasn't like my dog or anything. They're just over here fighting.
I got 2 of those. They're a little older now. No more of the little fights and biting.
Yeah, I've got 4. My 2 younger ones are
Oh my
in that
God,
stage
I
right
cannot.
now.
You are a fucking soldier, dude. I can barely believe it too. I was 1 of 4, and I know I didn't realize how bad it was till I only had 2, and I'm like, holy shit, how did my parents do this?
I don't know. It's a lot of work. I sometimes I question it myself, but we get by. I try to do my best. The wife is real helpful, thankfully. She does a lot, so I give her the credit.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
just
of
do what I can. But yeah, if anybody has any certain questions about AMC or APE or just the stock market in general, throw your hand up. Don't worry. Like, there's no such thing as a stupid question, in my opinion. If I get frustrated on Twitter sometimes or on YouTube, it's not at one person in particular. It's at the whole everything being pushed by the shills, and everything. And I'm not talking about just random people, like actual paid shills, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate on Twitter when people aren't using their real name or their real picture or whatever, brand new accounts. It's hard to tell if someone's just a bot account, or a sock puppet account, or if they're a real person. So
a good telltale, a good way to tell is if you guys get any DMs and they instantly start talking about crypto, that's an automatic shill. I almost got
yeah.
I almost got hit with a fake Frank Nez. It was 2 underscores instead of 1 in his name. And he was like, "Hey, what's up, man? I hope you had a good holiday." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it was great, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, I don't know. The conversation went on for a while, and it was like, "Oh, man, you should do this crypto thing." And I instantly stopped, and I went, "Boop. Now I know now I know you're a fucking shill, because I know you're not Frank Nez now. Goodbye." And I
Yeah.
went over to Frank Nez and I was like, "Yeah, this guy is fucked up. This is a fake account." So yeah, I tagged them. Yeah, that's a good telltale right there. We're gonna start talking about crypto.
Get those a lot. Used to get them a lot with like the same Asian woman's picture. You get that DM. Hey, how is your trading going? Hello, how are you? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, something's off here.
Look at my cleavage and my trades.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess they chase simps. I don't know. Maybe I look like a simp, but I'm not a fucking simp. So I don't know why they keep messaging me.
But
I'm kind of
Hey,
a small
ahead,
part of
brother.
me is hoping they do this little fucking kick the can at least until I get my tax return, so I can dump that whole fucking thing.
so
That's awesome.
if any of the major banks get bailed out during all this, how does that affect the movement?
I think we get paid either way. It's just afterwards they're like, "Oh, please give us money. We're broke now because we shit all over everyone," and then they get their money.
So
They get their
they
bailout.
pay us first and then get bailed out, or are they hurting so bad and then they get bailed out and then everything is like hunky dory again and we don't get paid and blah blah blah? How does that work?
I mean, if and when the MOAS happens and you cash out, that's probably, afterwards they're going to be like, "Oh God, the banks are bankrupt now, so we're going to bail those motherfuckers out again."
Makes sense.
I think that as far as bailouts go, the reason that I say Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, get the damn money printer out, it's not because it sounds good. It's because they're literally going to need to get the fucking money printer out in order to bail out the banks and the market makers and stuff. Right now everything's hunky dory with Citadel, the market maker, because they've got $65.7 billion worth of securities sold, not yet purchased, and around $70 billion worth of assets. And that's fine, but pretty soon that will change. And when they go underwater and their liabilities meet or exceed their assets, they're going to be in big fucking trouble and they're going to be insolvent.
Yeah, this is
At that point.
Once this
Real
is
quick.
all over, this whole event is going to change everything, the way they work everything.
It will, but not until after. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna be insolvent. The DTC, it has the clearinghouses, the DTC, the prime brokers. All of these guys are gonna need bailouts, all of them, and the
Yeah.
broker dealers. They're all gonna need bailouts, and it's gonna happen after the squeeze. You know, we're gonna get paid. That's truly how I feel. I don't see that as being a problem. People say, oh, there's not enough money. They don't have enough money. Yeah, I know that. But the financial system, the stock market, cannot be allowed to collapse because it is literally second to the military, if not even ahead of the military. What gives the United States their power? The financial system gives the United States government the power that they have, and the military backs that up. Without the stock market, the United States is nothing. Nothing.
Hey, boss, I have a question for you.
Yeah, real quick, buddy. I don't mean to be rude here, but if you AMC for all, what has his hand up? AMC for all, and then you go next.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
Thank
fine.
you, guys.
That's fine.
Appreciate you.
Hey, boss. Real quick. First thing, this is why I don't have a big bank. I have a credit union. As a matter of fact, I have a few credit unions and a small local bank, because when the shit hits the fan, they're going to be the least likely to have issues. Is my thought. But that's me. Everybody's going to do their own thing.
You're
but
right. You're right. Get out of big fucking ISDA banks. If your bank trades on ISDA, find a fucking credit union that does not. You know.
Credit union, small local banks. Those are going to be the ones. There's that list of the banks ranked by derivatives, and J.P. Morgan, Citibank, all these big giant. They're like 56 trillion in derivative exposure. They're going to get hammered. They're going to get absolutely hammered, and it's just not going to be a pretty scene. But the question I had for you, boss, was the Wes Christian video that's been going around today. I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yes.
What we're going to see in the next month, the motherload of counterfeit shares exposed. Any more insight besides just that little snippet? Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was NWBO or another stock like that. I think NWBO is the ticker for Northwest Biotherapeutics. I might have the name wrong just a little bit, but it's NWBO, Northwest Biotherapeutics, and they're now a penny stock that has been being, just completely destroyed by short hedge funds. JB, you mind muting, please, brother? Thank you. They've been getting destroyed by short hedge funds. And I can't say for sure that's what he's talking about. But I had a meeting with Wes Christian and the producers and cast of the Wall Street Conspiracy film several weeks ago. And we spoke for about 2 hours, and Wes Christian was in the call with us for about an hour and a half. And he told me a lot of things that are really fucking bullish and a lot of things that are really important. And one of those that we discussed was NWBO and how badly they are being smashed into the ground. They're the company that has issued the lawsuit against Citadel and Virtue and all these other market makers. And Wes Christian is the one that is suing them on their behalf for NWBO, Northwestern Biotherapeutics, I'm pretty sure they're called. So it could be them. It could be them because they had a really high stock price a long time ago, and they're currently trading in OTC. The difference between AMC and NWBO, that AMC has 4.1 million retail investors that are backing it up, that are here buying and holding and buying some more. And that's not the case with NWBO. They got a strong retail base, and I think they're a good company. But that could be what he was discussing. I'm sorry if I got off topic a little bit there. That might be what he's mentioning in his video. The saying that the mother of all, like not short squeeze, but the mother of all, synthetics and shit is going to come out. It might be due to that company. That's what I'm theorizing, at least.
Well, and I mean, honestly, any of the quote unquote meme stocks, or anything with severe naked positions, etc., gets exposed and forced to close, it's just going to be a house of cards. It's going to be a domino effect, because that's going to basically liquidate some smaller hedge funds, which is going to cause them to be way out of margin. It's just one of these days we're going to have something that just fucking runs like crazy, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be AMC or APE out the gate. It could be something else like this one you're talking about, or it could be, I mean, any of these other meme stocks runs and has a serious run, and it costs them enough money. They're going to be, it's going to be drastic. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah,
But
look at BBBY right now, right?
mhm, yeah, for sure.
That's great. JV, go ahead, brother.
Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate what you do, boss. My question is not for me. I mean, I'm pretty much set. I have plenty of shares, APE, AMC, and all that. But for the people that have, just a tiny bit of shares, what's going to happen when all these companies start taking the buy button off? Is there anything that can be done before we get to that point? And I'm speaking for all the people out there, and I have tons of friends that only have a small amount of shares. For me, I have plenty. Thank God for that. But I feel for the people that don't have that many shares. If they take the buy button off and they can only sell, and then they'll be stuck. Is there anything that we can do prior to getting to that bridge?
Well, yes. And some people are not going to understand this, but I'm going to come out and say it anyway. You want to hear my secret?
Yeah, definitely.
Call contracts.
Thank God for that.
That's right, baby. I said call contracts.
I feel for.
You know why? Because they can pull the buy button, right? But you know what they can't pull?
What?
The exercise button.
What?
They cannot pull the exercise button. They cannot stop me from exercising my call contracts. So that's why I have over 6 figures worth of call contracts for AMC and APE. Got 4,000 that expire this month, and then I got thousands more for the rest of 2023 and 2024. And I am well aware of the fact that if I lose 50 grand this month in call contracts because they went out of the money, I've got more. And I know that when they go from, $8 a piece to $6,000, $10,000, $20,000 per contract, I'm going to make a shitload of fucking money. And people are wondering who's going to buy them. Well, I'm not expecting retail to buy them because they don't have that kind of money sitting around. They're going to get purchased by the market makers and the short hedge funds that need those shares. So I'm going to sell a percentage of my call contracts to the short hedge funds, to the broker dealers that need those fucking contracts so they can get the 100 shares of AMC and the 100 shares of APE. And then I'm going to take the rest of them from some of my profits and I'm going to exercise them. And when I exercise them, that's going to force the broker dealers to go out, regardless of whether there's a buy button or not. Regardless of whether they pull the buy button, they cannot stop me from calling or going online and exercising the contracts. And when that happens, I get to take my profit off of some of my call contracts, and then I get to exercise some of my other call contracts, and therefore putting me into the 6-figure share range. I expect to get to nearly or over 250,000 shares via the exercising of call contracts. 250,000 shares. That's my goal. And I'm only ever going to do that through call contracts. So yeah, that's a lot of people are like, but you're giving money to the market makers. You're giving money. They make money off that. Yeah, they do until they don't. Until what happened in January and June of 2021 happens, they make money in call contracts. And then when that occurs, they lose their ass. That's why Thomas Peterfy, the chief executive officer of Interactive Brokers, live on CNBC, when asked about what is going on with AMC and GameStop, he said that there was not enough shares to give to the retail investors and those holders of the long calls. If they had exercised their calls, they would have broken the financial system, and the broker dealers would have to go out and buy those shares at literally whatever price. Doesn't matter if it's $100 a share, $1,000 a share, 1,000, 100,000 a share. If I exercise call contracts, they got to go out there and they got to fucking pay for it, and then they got to give it to me, and all I got to pay is whatever my strike price is times 100. So if I got $10 strike, I got to pay 10 times 100 per call contract. If it's $145 strike, I got to pay 145 times 100 in order to get that call exercised.
That is awesome. Thank you very much, boss. I appreciate all you do. You know, I've been with you for the last 2 years. I don't know how I missed that, man. I did see the interview of that gentleman on television when he said that, and it just blew me by, I guess. But thank you very much for your answer, and thanks for everything you do.
Hey, thank you, buddy. And thanks for your support too. And I'm glad you asked that, because that's a great question that I don't ever have the chance to really talk about unless people ask, right? Because I don't know what you want to hear. I don't know what you want to know, right? I don't understand. I don't know what retail does or doesn't know individually, right? So for you to ask that question, that's not going to get out to thousands of people just by you giving me the opportunity to answer it. And if I didn't know the answer, I would have said, hey, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. We're shit out of luck. But we're not. We're not shit out of luck, man. Call contracts, you have the opportunity. I mean, you have the opportunity to lose every fucking dime that you put in those call contracts. You could lose every dime in calls. But that's why, even though ignorant people like Matt Kors don't understand, that for me, the hedge against my call contracts is my shares. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, a hedge is taking the opposite side of the trade. No, a hedge can be many things. A hedge is simply anything that prevents you from losing money. And if I'm so confident that AMC is going to go up, then what's stopping me from hedging against losing my calls to an expiration by buying shares? Nothing. You know what I mean? So that's why I say I'm hedged with other things too. Don't get me wrong. I've got lots of other hedges all around the market, on and off the stock market. But specifically, a lot of my money is going into AMC. The vast majority of it is going to AMC. Money that's not invested in business, okay, is going into that and shares and call contracts, because that's the way to prevent yourself from getting fucked out of being able to buy more shares, because you're literally buying shares by exercising your call contract. So if I can get them, and they're going, I'm currently buying all sorts of things. If I can get them going from 20, 50, 100, $100 a call right now to 5,000, 20,000, 30,000 a call, that gives me a lot of money to take profits on those contracts without selling a single share during the squeeze, and then exercising other contracts, getting thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of more shares delivered to me, and still leaving profit in my account. Profit from those shares from those call contracts that I just got done selling, even accounting for the money that I'm going to spend on exercising those calls. So that was a great fucking question, man. Who's next, brother?
Hey, good day.
Yeah, thank you, JV. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yo, boss, I got a question. You said ask me anything, right?
Yeah, man, whatever. I don't care if it's about my relationship with Janet Yellen. I don't fucking care, man. Go ahead.
Damn, how is the relationship? It must be rocky.
Fucking old Yeller. She's a bitch, man. She's over here, got the money printer going out in full swing. She's fucking selling naked shorts on the VIX to fuck my VIX calls and my SPY puts, artificially pumping the market. I can't stand Janet Yellen. I absolutely fucking hate her. And remember, I don't know, maybe you guys heard this, but I've literally said, I don't necessarily mean it exactly like that literally, but I'm not selling till they fire Janet Yellen. It's because I fucking mean that Janet Yellen is in charge of the plunge protection team. She is the one that is preventing the stock market from crashing temporarily, because obviously if they could always stop it from crashing, there would have never been a market crash in history. Biden asked Janet Yellen to stay as the head of the United States Treasury, because not only is she in charge of the Treasury, but she's also the head of the plunge team, and she's currently propping up the stock market. and I'm not selling until they fire that bitch.
I'm not selling either. Hey, boss, I just had a question. I'm a big fan, AMC ape holder. I heard you sold. Fuck all the FUD. It doesn't matter, dude. I know you're an OG.
Yeah, but
So,
specify. I didn't sell out of my position. I
yeah,
just sold 1,998 shares, and then I bought back like 5,000 shares of APE with that money, and then I put
That's awesome.
$5,000 more into another brokerage account so I could buy more fucking AMC and APE and AMC One and shit, and then I bought more contracts. So yeah,
There we go.
I did sell
There we go.
1,998 shares, and then I dumped $5,000 more, and then I bought 5,000 more fucking APE shares. You're absolutely right,
There
brother.
we go. Fuck the haters. There we go. That's right, boss. I just have a question. I'm a Chicagoan here myself. I actually grew up in Edgewater on Ridge and Peterson. I don't live in Chicago anymore, but man, I'm an AMC guy. I'm a fan. I've been holding forever. I've been following you. I actually tweeted a couple of days ago. I said let's link sometime for a boss blunt, a boss 8 blunt.
Oh, that's awesome. I did see that. I saw that tweet, man. That was dope. Yeah, I'm down for that in the future. Why not?
I'm down. I'm up here in Fox River Grove, so
Okay, solid, dude.
Yeah,
I'm in
I'm
Woodstock,
here
man.
by.
That's great.
Yep, but I just
Cool.
wanted to drop by, say hi. I'm a follower. I follow you, and I support you and all that. Fuck the haters. Let's go AMC. We hold till the government is poor, baby, and the hedge funds are poor.
Yes. Damn, we're gonna be so fucking rich. We got people like you around. Hell yeah. Man, that's why I love this fucking community. Thank you, bro. You're too kind.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I just wanted to say, thanks for all you do, and like I said, fuck the haters, and we should definitely link sometime. Have an 8 blunt.
Good deal, man. Yeah, thanks, man.
I think that's as a gorilla finger, my friend.
Fuck yeah. Anybody else got some questions? What's up, Eric?
Yeah. What's up, bud? Hey, real quick, man. I know you and Bigums are really like smart in like with these banks and phase 6 and I'm into Ripple and XRP. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, I hope they just really rip Gary's a new asshole by winning this case and stuff. Do you foresee these banks for liquidity, bridge border payments, adopting Ripple and XRP? What's your thoughts on that, man? Especially with the way the financial systems are going and changing and the Great Reset and all that. I mean, do you have any ideas or thoughts on that?
I don't know if I have the answer you're looking for, to be honest with you, but I will say that I wouldn't be surprised to see that XRP be one of the crypto ecosystems to help usher in the central bank digital coin, for better or for worse. I have a feeling that it's quite possible that XRP could be one of those cryptos and ecosystems that is going to be used to help usher in the CBDC, and that could potentially be very bullish for their price. But
right, man. I really hope so, because that's going to be another thing that's going to make me so fucking rich, man, on top of AMC, man. So I was just wondering if you kind of dived into that before or knew something about it. So I appreciate your input.
No doubt, man. Yeah, that I have, thanks to like guys like Randall Cornett, Average Ape, and a bunch of other people that have done more research than even I have, and Edward Britchuk and a bunch of the friends here in the think tank, Twitter, all that shit. They really opened my eyes to a lot of the things that were going on and helped me realize that XRP has a good potential to become, if not one of the, probably one of the, central bank digital coins, if not it directly, that whole ecosystem is very likely.
Right.
And again, this isn't financial advice. I don't have a crystal ball, and this might not be the case. I have to say that as well, people. Like, don't just go buy it because I said that could be the case.
No. I mean, I haven't. I've been holding on people 2 years, just as much as with AMC, and I was just kind of like curious some of the stuff. Trust me, I know nothing's not financial advice. So we're just picking each other's brains, and that's all that is.
Oh yeah, brother, and no worries there. I'm just saying that I don't have any more crypto now. I sold all my crypto to move it all to AMC when I decided to get into AMC, and I found out everything that was happening there in early 2021.
Right. Voyager done fucked me up, man. Hell, I got all my shit tied up right now, man. So that sucks. But it's all good.
Hey guys, I gotta go, but it's been good.
Later, brother.
All
Have a
right,
great
later.
day, my man. Thank you.
Thank you, you
Hey,
too. Hey, yeah, and you mentioned Randall.
Mhm.
You guys need to be following Randall Cornett too. Everybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
I follow him. But hey, I gotta roll out too, guys. Boss, nice talking to you. Everybody in the community, y'all have a great night. Buy and hold. AMC all the way, baby.
Let's fucking go.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate you. Have a great night. Hey, Receding, you've been patiently waiting, my friend. Sorry for keeping you waiting, but by all means, man, the floor is yours. What's going on tonight?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious because I was worried my phone fell out. But thanks for talking with me today and taking my question. Thanks for all your support over the last several years. And was wanting to ask because I was trying to buy some gold or silver the other day, or not
Yeah.
gold or silver, but a mining operation. Their trading volume is around an average of 10,000. I was just curious because it feels like it takes forever to get a buy through a lit exchange on something that trades that low. Is that just normal or expected because there aren't a lot of shares that are usually free floating?
Yes, yes, and sadly, that's the problem. Is and I want people to know when Receding says lit exchange, he's not talking about the company lit exchange. He's talking about the actual, like IEX, for example. You know, one of the lit markets out there, one of the lit exchanges that is out there. The thing is, when there's low liquidity on those lit markets because the majority of broker dealers and market makers are sending orders via payment for order flow. So that's why I think it's really important that people comment on the SEC proposals to make those those changes in the way that orders are executed. In regards to like the new SEC proposals for the auction system that they're currently doing. To put shares up for auction on lit exchanges, lit markets, opposed to just letting payment for order flow be the exclusive form of purchase. And that's also why I am working on the soon to be, but not currently licensed broker dealer called Lit Exchange. Because if we get more retail buying on these markets, then there will be more demand for the shares to go to those lit markets. And that will be better for price discovery and prevent price distortion by shares going to payment for order flow, trading on the OTC, and suppressing the price. So yes, it is sadly a little less. It is takes a little longer to buy or sell usually on IEX, Investors Exchange, but that's not because they don't want to sell you shares. That's because the liquidity fairy that's front running your trades, the market makers, are not via payment for order flow. They're not able to do that as effectively on IEX because there has to be available shares to be sold on IEX.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's a great question. That's exactly one of the major problems that we're having in financial markets right now. And if anybody has any other questions, by all means, feel free to raise your hands. I love hearing from everybody. There's no such thing as a dumb question, unless it's like when Lambo, because I mean, hey, I don't have the answer to that, right? Like, I don't have the answer to when Lambo, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't see Lambos in my future, in people's futures, things like that. So that's where we stand. Yeah, the whole debacle with payment for order flow is really a much bigger problem than people think. And when people buy on broker dealers that are payment for order flow, like like whatever Moo or Weeble or whatever the fuck, Robinhood, trades don't occur in dark pools. That's a common misconception. It's a very small distinction there, but those shares trade in the OTC. So when payment for order flow brokers sell your order to a market maker, they then trade on the OTC, not on dark pools. And that's a huge problem. They're not, so like really like suspending the dark pools wouldn't really cause as much of a problem as people think. It would still cause increased price discovery because institutions and market makers use dark pools and alternative trading systems in order to be able to trade massive amounts of trades between each other. So from one institution to another. But when people sell or buy on payment for order flow brokers, they are then, that order is then sold to a market maker and traded on the OTC. And that's just as bad, if not worse, than if it were traded on dark pools. So it's actually a worse problem that it trades on OTC than if it were to trade on dark pools, in my, humble opinion. So yeah, that's about that, man. My space is like broken here. My space is like completely broken. I don't know if you guys stepped down or if you guys, or whatever happened there. But if anybody else has,
By all means.
jump back on up.
I don't care what it is, the floor is open. If you want to ask me anything specifically, like there's nothing off the table. I've got nothing to hide. If you want to ask me your tough questions, go ahead. That's all good. What's up, Coordinator? Can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing this evening, boss?
Hey, buddy, give me 1 second. Give me like 10 seconds. I've got to restart Twitter real quick.
No problem.
I apologize if I was speaking over you guys.
So first off, I want to say thank you, like everybody else has been, for all the DD you do and communication that you do over in your Discord. Yeah, I've been with you over there for I think maybe about a year now. I jumped on your YouTube's very first time simply because you had a Cowboy Bebop thumbnail, and been with you since then. What I wanted to ask you about, I put this over on the think tank, but I wanted to ask here if you have a chance to see it. We have an opportunity with the meeting coming up with AA regarding the voting to put out questions. I haven't had any questions to put out to him before, so I'm not sure who the best or how the best way to get these in front of him might be. Maybe one of the voice of the communities that he responds to could be one. But I wanted to see if there's a way that we could put a question out to him to see if he would commit to the post-split offering to go out to retail and not just be sent directly over to institutions. Kind of, get that in front of him, get him to try to call that out. I think that'll help a lot with the concerns about what he might do with the delusion afterward.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and to, to answer your question, I'm laughing at my daughter. I think that the best way to get this in front of him would be to ask it during a shareholder meeting, because after a shareholder meeting, they open the floor to people that would like to ask questions, and I think that's an excellent question. Oftentimes, the companies sell their shares to hedge funds and such. Keep in mind, not every hedge fund is evil. Like they're not all out there just trying to short stocks into the ground. Every hedge fund does go long and go short. That is a byproduct. That is a current issue in the markets. That it's an instrument in the markets, and they make money on the way up and on the way down. Okay. So a lot of people just hear hedge fund and they go, "Oh, those guys must be evil." That's not really the case. And I don't like hedge funds personally, but that doesn't mean that they're not essential to the markets, just like banks and market makers. So they sell to hedge funds because they need massive amounts of money, right? Like hundreds of millions of dollars, usually, if not even sometimes more, billions, for their shares. And retail doesn't have that kind of money just laying around. And there's a fear and a real, what's the word I'm looking for? A real danger of if AMC were to sell shares on the open market, there's a danger that the stock just gets hammered into the ground, and in order for the market makers to try to buy those shares from Adam Aaron on the open market, right? Because we're retail, right? We buy through broker dealers, and those orders go through payment for order flow on OTC to market makers, or there's, you know, like their Citadel Connect, for example, and things like that. And so that causes a problem where they're going to front run our trades anyway, you know. So potentially they may pick up a lot more shares than retail, and that could give Citadel or Susquehanna, State Street, or any of these other hedge funds or banks a big ownership percentage of AMC. And in order to prevent that, they sell specifically to certain more friendly hedge funds like Antara Capital or Wanda Group. You know, Wanda Group, who used to own AMC, parts of AMC, you know, a large percentage of AMC, they spent billions and billions of dollars to buy more theaters, to renovate, to grow the company, you know, and they did a fabulous job in doing so. That's an example of a hedge fund that can help AMC, you know, and Antara, who is voting with AMC on the proposals in exchange for the good deal that they got on their APE shares, to vote that their 168 million votes, one per share, towards the proposals that AMC needs in order to truly succeed in the long term, in order to do an APE to AMC 1-to-1 conversion, a 1-to-10 reverse split, and a dilution that would give AMC the ability to, instead of having to currently sell billions and billions of shares of APE, diluting the shit out of the company, giving a lot of shares to, you know, hedge funds and institutions, it would give them the ability to only, for example, sell like 50 million shares. And those 50 million shares could be sold at $50 a share, or $60 a share, whatever, much higher, thus diluting the company much less, for example. And if they were to sell 50 million shares at $50 a share, for example, immediately after the reverse split, that would be $2.5 billion. And that would pay off more than half of AMC's debt. And that would allow them to pay off the debt, the lien notes that prevent them from issuing a dividend. And when they pay off those lien notes, then AMC can issue a dividend. And when they do that, AMC doesn't have to pay it if there are shorts, because shorts have to pay the dividend. So this is really, issuing APE was really a checkmate, but it doesn't mean it was the end of the game. It takes time to see that. And the way that it was a checkmate was because there was never going to be a squeeze, in my opinion, like a major, like short squeeze just from the issuance of APE. The time when it occurs, if like, since you said you've been watching YouTube for a little while, you've heard me talk many times about the merger and the buyout and the acquisition and the other things that are occurring that would possibly help AMC do a conversion of APE to AMC. When they split AMC into APE, it doubled the number of shorts. And when they do a conversion of APE back into AMC, all the naked shorts in APE will have to close their positions because APE will cease to exist. And the broker dealers and the prime brokers like BlackRock and IBKR and Fidelity that are lending their shares to the market makers would want those shorts back, the shorts covered. So even if they don't have a share lent out to them, for example, they would have a short lent out to them oftentimes, but if it's a naked short, they would just short it and that position would have to be closed. The broker dealer like Fidelity is not going to want to eat those short positions and just lose all that money and let those naked shorts stay naked and just go down with the ship. They're not going to go insolvent because there are short hedge funds. They're going to go to the short hedge funds and say, hey, you owe me 100 million shares. Or you have let's just say, for example, you have 100 million short positions. I want you to close those 100 million short positions by this date because we will be, the company is going through a conversion and APE will cease to exist. Give me my fucking money. Give me my fucking shares. So it's not that the SEC or FINRA is going to regulate the industry. It's that the broker dealers aren't going to go bankrupt because of short hedge funds. So to your point, the issues will come in here in order to prevent, to answer your question, in order to prevent Citadel or Susquehanna from taking a majority ownership via a dilution of the stock, they're selling to friendly hedge funds like Wanda Group and Antera that are doing things to help AMC, like investing money in the company and, you know, turning around and selling it for a profit, like Wanda Group did, or Antera, who's investing money in the company and then selling the shares for a profit after the conversion, reverse split, and dilution votes and such, you know. So yes, I do think it's very bullish, and it's a great question. The thing is that if that happens, this is not financial advice, but if that happens, retail would have to be on their A game with a shitload of money on the sidelines, buying up the shit out of the shares before, during, and after AMC decided to issue shares on the open market. Does that make sense? That is the only way that could prevent the market makers or the short hedge funds from taking like a majority ownership in the company or a majority of those shares that were for sale.
Yep, absolutely. So, I've been listening to you and Biggins for quite a while. You both have been laying out all the strategies on it really well, and I've been a very big supporter of what he's done so far. You brought up a great point. I did not think about the fact that if it does go to the open, you're just basically throwing chum in the water. So, I think it's probably something that we could try to start communicating out to the community. Then that yes, he may do institutional, but he's done institutional the right way so far, so unless you know better, be quiet,
Yeah, man, that's actually really important, for retail to know. They have to understand that if this is what they want, everybody better have a lot of fucking money on the side to go out there and try to buy some of those shares to prevent the big institutions from picking up every last one of them and taking over a percentage of the company. So people like to blame AMC for not issuing the shares on the open market because GameStop did it in the past, for example, but GameStop doesn't have 4.1 million investors, they don't have a 1.4 billion float. They have a much smaller float, just like AMC will after the conversion. But even still, AMC, in my opinion, if you look at the open interest, has much greater ownership by retail and much more married puts and married calls that the hedge funds and shorts are using as a hedge against the number of shares that exist. They're using those as a hedge. So AMC is guarding themselves as a company, preventing themselves from being sold out to the shorts by not issuing them on the open market and by issuing them to friendly short hedge funds. So you make a great point. It's like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah, I mean, everything is, though. When he called checkmate, I knew it wasn't checkmate that turn. He's calling basically checkmate in 4 turns.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is that we know it got diluted heavily. Not diluted, I'm sorry. We know it got shorted heavily because all these shorts knew that APE was going to be used to pay off AMC's debt. And that's the last thing they want. That's the last thing the shorts want. They're terrified of that. That's why when it came out, it was 50-50, right? Half the value is in AMC, half the value is in APE. Both of them combined equal the stock ticker AMC1, which is the derivatives basket that is the real value of AMC. People are thinking, oh, well, AMC is diluting, let them dilute APE. I don't own APE, I have AMC, like certain people are thinking that. That doesn't matter. If they dilute APE, it's still on AMC's financials. And that's why, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself because even though the stock AMC is not being diluted, the company, the ticker, both tickers combined are being diluted, and so we need to do the right thing, I think, and vote yes for all 3 proposals.
Yep, and that's what I'm doing. I've got I've been a Forex holder since about 18 months now, so I have no problem seeing it go down by a decimal point there because I know what the end game is going to be. So I'm all set. Thank you so much for addressing, and I will step down.
That's awesome, Cornier. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a great question, bro. You don't have to step down. You can stay up here if you want to. There's nobody else right now raising their hand.
I got to go make food for the family, so I'm just going to
enjoy your evening, bro. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time as always.
Can I ask a quick question, Marcel?
Yeah, you don't have to ask. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, sorry, man. This is my first time doing speaking on voice. So I just got on. I'm not sure if this has been covered yet. Any idea on what happens to APE if there's some sort of merger or acquisition or buyout or something like that?
Yeah, if there was any sort of like, I did a video on this, just letting you know, and I say that for the people that may have seen it, might like or jog their memory, or they can go look for it if they want to. Any sort of merger, acquisition, or buyout or combination of the company would cause the APE shares to be recalled, and that would do the same thing as if people vote yes on the conversion. You know, that would do the same exact thing. So if people don't vote yes, I think that would be absolutely terrible for the company. But if they do, that would be great. But if there's a merger of any company with AMC or combination, those shares would be recalled, and they would be combined into a new stock ticker, along with whatever company, whatever that new company, new company's ticker and QSIP number would be. So in my opinion, that equals short squeeze.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for clarifying. That's what I suspect. I just wanted to kind of just double check on that. But yeah. I sold a bit of AMC to buy some APE just to kind of hedge, just to kind of make sure I'm covering all my bases. And I'm sorry that you're getting a lot of grief for that. I'm sure thousands of others are as well, but they're just not saying anything for fear of people saying whatever. But I think that's a pretty good move, and I'm appreciate you.
Hey, it's your money, man.
Question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. I'm not going to tell you what your financial position is or what's in your financial best interest, because I'm not your advisor, and it's your money, not mine, right? Do I think it's the right move for everybody? No. Do I think it's the right move for some people? Maybe. For me, I've got so many other shares of AMC that I'm not concerned about losing a few shares if I'm wrong. If I take this gamble and AMC doesn't convert, or they cancel the proposal, or the conversion doesn't pass, well, then I've just got more APE shares, and that's just the way that I see it. Like, no matter what, both APE and AMC are the same company. They belong to AMC. They're on the AMC financials, and they're both represented in the as the underlying assets of their true value, the derivatives basket of AMC 1. So, hey, if that's what you want to do, some people are going to say, oh, but you're helping shorts cover this or that. Maybe. But actually, no, you're not necessarily helping shorts cover. Those shares go out of the market, and there's a chance that some retailers might buy some of those shares. So it's not like every single share is going to a short. Those shares could be purchased by anybody. And even still, if the shorts need your shares, or if the market makers need shares, they're just going to go out and create short exemptions. They're going to create, the liquidity fairy is going to create fake shares, synthetic shares out of thin air, and sell those to the shorts. So right now, if they're covering and people are selling shares, there's a good possibility that that's got something to do with why the price of the stock is going up. But again, I got no proof.
They're creating
What's up, brother?
fake shorts. They're creating fake synthetic shares.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the definition of synthetic, right? It's like they're fake shares. Who knows? Like, at this point, if you honestly want my honest opinion, I don't have proof of this, right? So I have to say that this is, I allege that there are well over 50 billion synthetic shares. 50 billion synthetic shares in my eyes, out of the 516 million that are supposed to exist. And that's why I'm so adamant that it doesn't matter if I sell 1,000, if you sell 1,000, if every single shareholder sold 1,000 shares, for example, that wouldn't even be close to anywhere enough money for the shorts to cover all their positions, not just the reported ones. I'm talking about all their positions. It's like going to the ocean and taking a glass of water out. Anybody else looking, or even yourself, you look at the ocean, you take a glass of water out of the ocean, it doesn't look smaller. If rainwater evaporates out of the ocean into the sky, you can't see that there's less water in there. It's still the ocean. If you go to the Nile River and take a sip with a straw, you can't tell the difference. And that's kind of what I'm getting at there.
Cover.
What's that?
They will never, ever be able to cover.
Probably not. Not even exaggerating. They will probably never be able to fully cover their short positions, you know, and that's where a lot of the problem comes for their current situation. That's a great point. Yeah, if you guys have anything else you'd like to say, or I'm sorry, you know, I'm not sure who came up first, either Brett or Jason. I see you got your hands up. By all means, if you have a question, go ahead, you know.
Okay, I'll ask. I'm Brett. Thank you for doing this, by the way. So two things really. Do you think that somebody who owns a small has a small amount of shares, like 500 or 1,000, is still in a position to make a decent amount of money if this all goes where we think it's going to go? And because I'm just holding, I'm too chicken to do anything except just hold the little bit that I have. But I want to ask you, I do want to find out about, you were talking about call contracts, and I want to learn more about that and understand it, and maybe possibly dive into stuff like that. But I would like to know where you would maybe suggest that I would learn about that, someplace that you would trust. You know, it's like anything else, you know, depends on where what you read, where you read it, if it's the right thing, and maybe specifically for this, you know, the AMC situation, if it would be maybe a little bit different. Anyway, if you have any suggestions on where a good place to really get an understanding of all the different things I can do as far as trading goes.
Hey, Brett. Yeah, thanks so much for asking your question. And I love that. There's nothing wrong with buying and holding, you know, and just holding. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Thankfully, I'm in a position where I can buy and hold and make some trades and buy some more, you know, and I don't day trade AMC, but I decided that it would be advantageous for me to sell less than 2% of my AMC shares in order to increase my APE shares by 250% off those same purchase, you know, and then I went ahead and bought more, made another $5,000 liquidity injection into another broker and bought more as well. And I bought call contracts too on AMC1. But in order for you to learn, there are a lot of avenues, and it's a little complicated, but easy at the same time. Like there's a lot going on with contracts in the sense that there's all sorts of things with the Greeks, right? And the Greeks, like the delta, theta, and such, those all have different meanings. And so it's helpful to learn what they mean and how they affect the stock, I mean, the call contract, the options themselves. But the only real way to do that is to actually, you know, try to paper trade them yourself. But before you do that, the best bet would be to go out and go on YouTube and Google options for beginners. Okay, options for beginners. And there's a few videos out there that are really, really good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull one up now and see if I can share it. There are a couple videos out there, and some of these videos are like 3 hours long, you know, and I know, hey, yeah, that's a lot of time. You know, we're all busy. We've got family and friends and jobs and such, school, whatever. But it's important to learn how to trade options if you are able, you know what I mean? Because it's just another tool in the traders, it's another tool in your tool belt, you know, and it could potentially allow you the opportunity to make or lose more money, right? With options, they're not like shares. You can't, like with shares, you can buy them and you can hold them and you don't have to worry about them unless the company goes bankrupt, which is not a concern to me. But with options expire. Not all of them, right? All options expire eventually. Oh, I'm sorry, hon. It's okay. But so it makes it more complicated because theta is constant. Theta means time, and time is always eating away at your options value. So it eats away at them until the delta, which is the price, the actual price of them, goes down, down, down until if the options expire. Sorry about the yelling in the background. That's my kids. When the options expire, you know, then they're worthless, regardless of what the value of them is. If you're holding options on expiry that are not in the money, they're going to expire worthless, you know, and you're not going to get anything. Even if they're in the money, if they expire,
and you're holding them and you have not exercised them, unless they are VIX or European exercise style options like the volatility index, you're not going to get anything for them. The reason I say that is because the volatility index, the VIX, what are you yelling for? The VIX is, they pay in cash. You know, they don't give you shares of the VIX. If those options expire in the money, they give you cash. And that's why I like the volatility index, amongst other things, because if your shares expire in the money, then you automatically get cash from your broker. But other calls, like say AMC, they can expire in the money, but if they're in your account and you haven't sold them or you haven't exercised them, sorry, stop, honey. If you haven't sold them, then they're just worthless. You know what I mean? But they're there, they're in your account, and they have as the implied volatility of call contracts goes up, so does the value of them. And that's what caused, like, my options back in June and many other people's, when AMC had its run up to $76, go from $20 a contract to $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a contract, or, you know, some of them even more. The closer to the money they are, the more they go up, but also the more expensive. So the further that a stock runs, for example, there are currently $145 contracts out there, right? And AMC, we know, is like at, you know, what, $5. If those go in the money, out of all the contracts, out of all the strike prices on the chain, the 145s would, if they go significantly higher than that, you know, $50 higher than that, for example, those would be worth the most, even though they were the cheapest to purchase, because the implied volatility of them would be so great, would be so high, that you would make more money percentage-wise, not dollar-wise, percentage-wise, because you paid so little for them compared to, say, a $20 call contract. Because right now, $20 call contract, you know, let's just say an example. I'm not looking at them, so I'm just throwing out a number. They could be, you know, $200 a piece, and they expire in June, for example. But a 145 that expires in June, which don't currently exist, but you know, you'll learn about that later. I can explain that later. If that same contract was a $145 strike, and that went in the money, even if they were both at $200 a share, because you only paid, say, $20 for it instead of $200, you could potentially make a lot more percentage-wise. So, oh yeah. So I will put a quick link up right now on Twitter, and I'll share it to the top of the space. Actually, I'll just I'll DM it to you, Brett. If you got any other questions, by all means, that was a good question.
Oh, thanks. That would be great. I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Boss, can you send that to me as well?
Hey, boss.
Yeah, I'll put it up on Twitter right now, and I will just tag you guys on. I mean, I'll just put it up here in the top. I'll put it up here in the top, so you guys can just click on it to make things easier for you. But yeah, go ahead, guys. My kids are just in the background. I'm making dinner. I have a very loud household. My apologies.
Hey, what's up, Marcel?
What's up, buddy?
Good to finally talk to you. Hey,
thank you. You too.
I just want to say I appreciate everything you do, man. It's nice to have somebody that puts everything together. My question is, after this does happen, where do we go with our money, man? I mean, like, does Highcroft still have that thing, or have they started that thing where you can actually buy gold through their company if you're a shareholder?
I don't think they've done that yet.
Okay.
I don't think they've done.
I'm just kind of worried. I mean, like, have you seen the videos floating around about the FDIC, you know, and like the meeting they had and them talking about, you know, things collapsing and basically everything. And then the SIPC, we're only like, I think 500,000 is like tops. But I was just thinking, you know, where do we go, man? You know, like, do we get, you know, we get cash, we get CBDCs, whatever. You know, I mean, do we go to gold? Do we go Bitcoin? I mean, what do you think's the next move after that?
Well, I can't tell you what's best for you, right? But I could just tell you a couple things that I'm looking into. I'm not going to get too complicated into it because we could talk about this all day.
Yeah,
but
I got you.
A couple simple things is my brokerage accounts, I have debit cards for my brokerage accounts. Okay. So that means that I'll be able to use my broker sort of as a bank, you know, and that gives me a little bit of safety there. And then instead of regular is the banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all the Goldman Sachs, these assholes that are, well, Goldman's an investment bank, but you get my point, right?
Yeah.
BMO Harris, JP Morgan, all these guys, they have a potential to possibly go bankrupt and need a government bailout, and your money may not be there, and the FDIC could take up to 2 years to pay you, and there's no guarantees that they have the money. The FDIC recently had a meeting in which it was a private meeting, they privately said between each other that people would freak out if they realized that they don't have the fucking money to pay them, that the FDIC doesn't have the money to pay them, because they don't. And that's why I think that credit unions are so important. Not because today you need it, but tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, when a financial collapse does occur, because it will occur. The United States has more bank failures than any country in the world. As a matter of fact, the United States have more insolvent banks and bank failures than every other country in the world combined. And a lot of people don't know that. Mexico, I don't think Mexico's ever had a single bank failure, for example. And the United States has had, thousands and thousands, and I'm not saying go to Mexico. I'm just using that as an example, That's why credit unions are important. That's why, your broker is important, and, having, debit cards for your broker and things like that are important. But also, precious metals are a store of wealth for many people, and when you've got a lot of money and you can't figure out what to do with it, precious metals are nice to have, because a few months ago we were telling people, yeah, hey, look, silver and gold's at a great price. Silver's at $17 an ounce. Today, over the last 6 months, it's up 26%. Silver is at $24 and change compared to the 17 it was at a few months ago. So that's a 26% gain that I have on my precious metals that's just sitting there. I'm not going to sell it right now, because I personally suspect that silver has a potential to run up, to nearly $1,000 an ounce. I think it's got that real potential, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen during a real financial collapse. But that's another way where people could potentially put some of their money. In addition, there's land, not homes, but actual land itself. Land purchases are a fabulous store of wealth, especially during a down market, because it gives people the opportunity to buy for very cheap prices. And then as the market recovers and as the governments issue stimulus and bailouts, oftentimes it takes a few years, but the market recovers pretty quickly or pretty hastily. And that could also be a really good way, depending on your financial situation or mine, whatever. Then you've got multifamily properties, right? Not single family homes, but, apartment buildings, duplexes, quad units, four apartment units. Excuse me. Sorry. That's another thing. And then I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Then you got food, right? Even food is a store of money, like things with a long shelf life. It's like with the price of things going up so much right now, having some canned goods and things like that, and then dehydrated foods and other things stored away could potentially save you a 50% or 100% markup over the next 6 months or so, just for example,
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I was just kind of freaking out. I saw this video the other day by Mark Moss, and he was talking about bail-ins versus bail-outs, and how, like, after 2008, they've been pretty much outlawed bail-outs, I guess, for taxpayer money to pay the banks. And basically, they would use, like, the funds that, when you sign your contract with the bank to have a savings account or whatnot, and they would take your money. Yeah. And I just was curious if FDIC paid you out, would they be able to take that money too if it was a bail in? You know what I mean?
Got you. No, I guess with those regulation changes, but there's a lot of ways that these guys get around that stuff. And again, that leads back to why I always say, Jerome Powell, get the fucking money printer out, because they're going to use the same way that they're printing money for this $1.7 trillion omnibus bill and send $100 billion to Ukraine, that's the same way that they're going to print out money, you know, not actual printing, but you know what I mean? Like the putting ones and zeros on a page, they're going to print out money in order to bail out these banks via the federal government money printer. When the DTC, the broker dealers, the prime brokers, all these guys and the market makers start to collapse, they're going to need the money to come from somewhere, and it's going to come from the government. And that money also still comes in the form of debt to the American people. So the bail-ins no longer being, you know, possible, like the money not coming directly from your bank account. Yeah, it might not come directly from your bank account. It's still going to come from the people, the debt on the American people and people around the world as these, you know, central banks print more money to cover those losses. So it's a way for them to skirt it, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, like after this happens, I was kind of saying like hyperinflation's got to be coming very soon afterwards. So
I'm
it's like
telling you, man.
Get your money into hard assets, you know, something.
Yeah.
But
I don't think hyperinflation is going to happen. It's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen because people think that, oh, the government's just doing this or they got inflation under control. It's like, yeah, for now, they got inflation under control, but they continue to print, and it's not under control. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. It's slowed for now, right?
Yeah.
But they're already coming out with this, you know, $1.7 trillion omnibus bill, and they're sending more money to Ukraine. They're doing all sorts of other things that is inflationary, right? And they're trying to combat that by taking down the American people, by cutting, you know, and the people around the world, by tearing people down a notch is how they're trying to combat the inflation that they're causing by printing more money. And that's why I say it's really important for the 99% to be properly invested. And that's why I think that AMC and GameStop and other things that run inverse to the market and precious metals are the best hedges to a financial collapse. You know, I truly feel that way because they're going to get the money, they're going to print out, you know, and I tell people, you know, you're going to have to move quickly, like not overnight, but you're going to have to move very quickly after, you know, after you make a significant amount of money, if this situation goes down even remotely to the way that I think it will, to make sure that you properly hedge yourself against the deflation of the devaluation of the dollar, I should say, of hyperinflation, because it's coming in my opinion.
All right, boss. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question, dude. Thanks for getting me going on a rant. If anybody else has any questions, by all means, go ahead. You know, throw your hand up. Hey, Christina, what's up?
Hey, Marcel, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I have two questions, and I feel like such a boob asking this. You kind of touched on it when I just came into the call. You were talking about the PFOF, and of course, like I know that Dave Lauer has been working on trying to change those regulations, and I've asked him several times. Like, I don't understand when he says over the OTC market, the retail go through there. Like that to me, just with my limited knowledge, I just think of like the penny stocks. Like I don't really understand how that's happening.
Yeah, that's over the counter is very, very hard to visualize, right? And instead of going to a centralized exchange like the via the New York Stock Exchange, like IEX, for example, or on the New York Stock Exchange, they trade it from like one hand to the other. So their trades are handled by these various dealers or between the parties themselves. So it's like sorry, let me put it this way. It's like, again, this is just an example. It's like Citadel Securities. They buy your order. Let me start from the beginning. You place an order on Robinhood, and I'm not saying you are. I'm saying you as an example, right? You place an order on Robinhood. Robinhood uses payment for order flow to sell your order to Citadel Securities. Citadel Securities then takes your order, and instead of processing it on the New York Stock Exchange, where your dollar makes a difference, they take it straight from Citadel Securities' office, and they walk across the street and into JP Morgan's office, and they put your money on the table, you know, with a little extra on top of it because they front run your trade. They put the money on the table, and they get that share, and come back to their office, and give it, and then they hand it to the broker dealer, Robinhood, and Robinhood puts the share in your account. So then instead of it going from Citadel to the New York Stock Exchange, it goes directly from, that's why it's called over the counter. It's as if I go to a store and buy the share there, it doesn't affect what happens on the New York Stock Exchange anywhere near to the extent that it would than if we traded on a lit market. So that's kind of like a very simplified example of what OTC means.
And the reason that PFOF would stop that is, or if we got rid of PFOF, is because they wouldn't be making money from it. Is that right?
Well, the broker dealers like Robinhood makes more than half of its money from payment for order flow. And market makers are able to pay more than the New York Stock Exchange, for example, or pay more than Investors Exchange, IEX, the lit markets, because they're able to front run your trade. So they can go out and front run your trade. Basically, they can say they bought your shares, but they didn't. They just give you the synthetic share, and then somewhere along the line over the next 28 days, they go out and buy the shares from another entity over the counter, or they don't buy it at all, and it just fails to deliver, and it doesn't cause positive price action. So that's why I say that, trading on payment for order flow brokers is distortion of price discovery, because your dollar doesn't actually make a difference in the same way that it does to the stock price when it trades via payment for order flow brokers on these various exchanges. And these they're not dark pools. Okay, they're not dark pools, because PFOF doesn't trade on dark pools. It's a very small distinction, but it's an important distinction for us to make.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that was a great question.
Why would you not have some regulation where your broker has to go to the exchange? Why not put it on the lit exchange? Like, why is that such a taboo thing to do that would make things, transparent? And
well, that's what I want.
Real price discovery, right?
Yeah, you're right. And that's why the market makers don't want it, and that's why I do want it.
Yeah, but selling PFOF, I'm not sure it would do that. Like, I feel like it would just change the profits. That's it. They would still do it, right?
Well, they don't do it because the broker dealers would make less money from taking the money from let's just, for example, they make half as much money. So they lose 50% of their current revenue from each order that's trading on payment for order flow, So say right now, they're getting, I'm just using it as a simple number, they're getting $1 right now.
I can't hear you guys now. I just got a phone call. I'm going to drop down and
go
come
ahead
back
and take it. That's cool. Yeah, cool. When you come back, we'll talk about it. Hey, what's up, man? Max or whoever else, I don't mean to, Jason, Big Will, you guys are welcome to ask any questions if you got them. Go, by all means, go ahead.
Hey, boss, can you hear me?
Hey, Max, what's going on, buddy? It's good to hear your voice.
Man? Hey, dude. Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody in the space had any questions for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, I got questions for you.
No.
How rich are we going to be?
So fucking rich.
My man, this guy gets it.
I've heard that in other space calls, and it cracked me up. But, no, I'll go in a little soapbox here for a little bit, and then whenever you want me to shut up, just kick me. But
go for it, brother.
I've been in these space calls for a while, and I've heard some people come up from the bottom that never speak and tell their story, and it kind of gives more conviction to people. And I'm one of those people. My voice is probably going to crack because I'm nervous, but more people come up from the bottom and speak. I feel like it helps the community out. So I was in the space call earlier today, and there was yelling, screaming, and a lot of division within the community. So what I would like to do is kind of just come up and give my backstory, and if people like it, cool. If you think I'm a douchebag, throw a heart up there too. I don't care. But I bought my first house when I was 22 years old. I moved out. I didn't have much, and I bought it in October of 2008. And I filled out a hardship form from my union hall to take money out from a retirement annuity that I had been putting into. So it wasn't much, but I really needed it. And I remember getting a letter in the mail After I had filled that form out, about 4 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, and it was from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and it said, sorry, we regret to inform you we have lost 50% of your positions. And I think I ended up with like $800. And, I bought this house, newly married, had no furniture, had no mower. And I was really banking on that to get on my feet and get started. So, that was a gut punch. And I'm sure that there's so many stories from 2008 that people that have that. But I worked through it. I worked my ass off. I'm blue collar, I'm middle class poor. I'm not proud of it, but it's just what it is. And so, this whole thing started, and I have never owned stock. I've never known anybody in my real life that's owned stock. I'm from West Virginia. Most people here are pretty damn poor compared to the rest of the nation. But I don't even know why, really. I downloaded an app, and I was like, during COVID, I was like, I'm going to buy some stock. I had $200 that I could put into it. That's it. But I was thinking, I'll try it out. I'm tired of being poor. So I got on YouTube, and I was just, trying to YouTube, if you're poor, what stock should I buy? And, Apple, Tesla, I couldn't afford any of that. So, penny stocks in there, lost my ass, losing money. And I don't know why, for some reason, I seen GameStop started ripping. And it was up to $330 a share. And I was like, damn it. So I pulled some money, what little bit I had out of checkings, and I bought in at GameStop at $330 a share. New to the market, didn't know shit. So, how it dropped right after that and kept dropping, and I held, and I was like looking into it. I was like, what the hell? So I downloaded Reddit, and I got on a Reddit board, and I joined Wall Street Bets. And what a rabbit hole that's been. But anywho, I wrote up. I had 4 shares. I sold. I think I made $1,300, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's hard for me, being blue collar construction worker, to make $1,300.
Hey, that's awesome, brother.
So
I don't want to interrupt your story, but I just want to say that's fantastic. And there's nothing to be ashamed of with being poor. There's nothing wrong with not being rich. You know what I mean? The majority of people are. I was poor my entire life up until very recently, and it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and hard work and sacrifice to get out of that, and doing things like this. But by all means, please continue, man. This is inspiring. Thank you.
So I had 4 shares, and on Reddit, I actually came across Wall Street Conspiracy, and it's an hour and a half, video, and most people don't want to take the time to read or watch it, but I did, and that gave me a whole lot of conviction, and I learned a lot from it. What little bit I knew about the market then, I didn't understand it, but I knew something was wrong. So, I was, I'm a diamond hand 8, and then that popped up, and I seen that money in my account, and I had 4 shares, so I sold 3 of them. I made $1,300, and I turned around and I dumped it all in AMC. And I've been holding it ever since, and I've been buying ever since. But I don't know. The reason I wanted to come up, I heard all the bull crap in the community today, and people mad that you sold 1,000 shares. You sold more shares than I own, and I think most people are just jealous about it. I would have loved to have that amount of shares I sold. And I'm not jealous, I'm not mad. I'm jealous, and I think a lot of people are, and more power to you. But I just wanted to come up and give a little bit of oorah to the community. This is my ticket out of being poor.
Let me say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You took that fucking step to go out and put $200 into the stock market, and then you started losing money, but then you invested and you learned. You took the time to educate yourself, and you made $1,300 out of it. And now you've got a little bit more money and a little bit more shares. And if you're doing the right things by buying and holding and educating yourself further, it's the Berkshire Hathaway way. It's the Warren Buffett way. Is to buy and hold. Is to be patient. It's the way to fucking play the game.
And a lot of people got into this thinking it was going to be a quick squeeze and easy money and all this shit, you know. And that's not the way that the stock market works. You know, it's not that fast usually. I think we'd all would have liked for this to happen a little bit quicker, but it's the reality of the world is these guys, these billionaires aren't just going to turn around and say, okay, we give up. Here's our money. They're going to fight and fight until the very last second when they go completely fucking insolvent via margin calls all around the world, man. So what you're doing is absolutely inspiring and even to me, like honestly. So I would like to say thank you for buying and holding, and I'll do the same. You know, I'm doing the same. You know, and I didn't sell AMC because I'm leaving my position. I sold AMC because it gives me the opportunity to buy more APE. And if the conversion happens, I will then have more AMC than I previously did, which causes potentially creates more synthetic shares from the market makers and more naked shorts and more shorts that they have to create to fight against that, potentially increasing the ceiling price of the stock even, you know. So that's one thing that I thought. Go ahead, brother.
I'll wrap my stuff up and then I'll drop down, and hopefully people that never spoke before come up and speak, because I think we all love hearing it. But no, one of the things that, you know, I'll kind of close out with is, you know, I've been in Boss's think tank for the 28th. It'll be a year, and before that, I was in Reddit and I was on YouTube. You know, Coors, I've watched him like crazy. I watched Lou like crazy, and I took it hook, line, and sinker. I had nobody to learn off from but them. But I will tell you this: I've been in Boss's YouTube for the past year, and I learned more from Boss's think tank. Been in the think tank, shout out to the think tank. Been in it for the past year. I've learned more about the market. It's insane. So, you know, Boss's heart's in the right place. If you guys aren't in the think tank, you're missing out. But I'll leave it at that. And I do encourage people that are afraid to speak, you know, come up here and tell your story. I think that's what makes this community strong. I'm a nobody. I'm a poor and whatever. You know, I've got money in it, not a lot, but I've got my number to where I will have my house, my vehicles, and everything paid off, and I will have financial freedom, or I will not sell. So, you know, love you guys, love everybody. This community needs unity, and that's all I wanted to come up and try to provide.
That's amazing, Max. Truly is, bro. I mean that. You know, you may think it's just a little, but it's not. It's a lot. All of us collectively, you know, individually are a little, but combined, we're the world's biggest hedge fund. We are the fucking whale. My kid wants to get down. But what you're saying is the absolute truth, you know, and don't say it like that you're just, you know, you just have a few shares and this and that. You are part of the greater good here, you know, like Dr. Metzler said that apes have to fight back, and buying and holding is the way to fight back. Us holding is the worst thing that these rich bastards could have possibly ever imagined. They are so pissed. They are so confused. They're wondering, why do these fucking retard crayon eaters not sell? Why, you know, and then they sell and then they buy more. Like, what the fuck are they doing? You know, they are freaking out at the fact that this is going on. So please don't say that you're just a little late, man. You're just as important as I am, as anybody else is in this community. Let me tell you that much, Max, and everybody else listening. Yeah, put it on, hon. Everybody else needs to realize that we all matter. And so that's why even I understand that some people were, you know, kind of upset that, you know, I sold some AMC shares to buy APE shares, you know, but at the same time, I also injected more liquidity because I know what I'm doing here. And it converted some AMC into APE, which if the conversion occurs, it could possibly create even more AMC shares for me, more naked shorts and shorts that have to be taken out, more synthetic shares that have to be created, more short exempts, more rehypothecations, potentially increasing the problem for these short hedge funds. So all of us together are really the danger to these institutions. And that's why there's so much FUD going around and so much misinformation going around. I also, you know, watched guys like Matt Kors when I first started, you know, in trades and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But together as a community, we evolved and we learned to figure out, who we should be looking to, and that's each other, right? We don't have to put anybody on a pedestal. I don't want to be on any pedestal. I appreciate all the kind things you've said, but I don't consider myself anybody special. I'm just Marcel, and I just share the knowledge that I have, but I also go looking to other guys like, other guys out there in the community and girls as well. It's not gender exclusive in any way, for information and for due diligence and stuff, because we are all learning together. This hive mind that we've created is the best thing I've ever seen on the stock market. And I've been trading for going on 20 years now, so I'm personally extremely proud and humbled to be part of the community. And I thank you for the things that you said. But don't think for a second that just because you've got 50 shares or 100 shares or 500 shares or 1,000 shares, that you don't have a lot of shares or a lot of influence. You are just as important as anybody else in what's happening and in these financial markets. And it takes every single one of us retail investors in order to get where we're going, So I truly believe that, like Wolfie says, we are the whale. We're not the cause of the problem. We are the cure. And eventually, one day, we'll be right, Hedge funds and market makers, they have to be right every single day. But my crayon eating ass, I just have to be right one day.
Where's cash when you need him? What's that money printer sound like?
Yeah, brother. This is a little hard for me to talk about sometimes.
I teared up. It's hard for people to talk about their personal life and their personal hardships. I lived it. I moved out of my house when I was 21 years old with 2 bags of clothes and a mattress. I've had zero financial help my entire life. And I'm not.
I respect the shit out of you for that.
I'm not bitching and complaining. There's people that have it way worse than me. They really have.
But you've worked for everything you have.
Yeah.
You've worked for it. You've earned this.
Everything that I own and that I have, I've worked my ass off for it. And I've worked in oil refineries, chemical plants. I've had dangerous jobs. I've seen people get hurt bad. I've seen, not on the job, but I know people that have died. I've had buddies die on the job on different jobs. We're the backbone of America, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but if we wasn't out here doing this shit, that you wouldn't have gasoline, you wouldn't have electricity, and we're the ones that our retirement is getting absolutely raped, and I don't get to pick the stocks that I buy out of my retirement. These stupid hedge funds do, and they're the one telling me you can't retire at 60 because we made bad trades. I'm sorry, you got to work till 70 now. Well, you're dead at 70, so piss on them. I'll hold. I'll diamond hand. I have to diamond hand. I don't have enough shares. I've got to hold to the top, and I would say 80% of the community does. So, like I said, I think it'd be cool to hear the people with not a lot of shares come up and flex your balls on everybody. You don't think there's hedge funds listening in on this? I have nothing to lose. Why would I sell? I've wiped my ass with this money. I'm a person that don't have money, and when I have invested in this, I wipe my ass with it. Why would I sell until I'm freaking rich? So
I feel that. I respect the shit out of that, brother.
No,
truly, I do.
People. I know there's somebody down here, and this is when they speak, and they're nervous. Just raise your hand, get up here, and do it.
Man.
It honestly, it adds to the community. It adds to people's conviction. Just do it. Get your feet wet. But I'm going to step down, but appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mad Max. You know what? The things that you mentioned,
That's the reason that I'm here. This kid over here, coughing, she's the reason I'm here. It's okay, hon. And that's what makes it hard to talk about. It's because when you really understand what's going on in these markets and just how bad people are getting fucked by these big institutions and these big banks, I don't understand how you can't be upset. And yeah, that's what inspired me to start talking about it in the first place. Sorry, hon. You're okay. So she's getting over a bit of a cold. I'm just holding her. So my apologies. But you're all right, baby. You're all right. Anyways, you're okay. What's the matter? You have some water. That's what got me started in the market in the first place. In talking about the market with people. Here, drink this. Specifically AMC and GameStop and the market crash situation. You all right? Oh, poor baby. Come on. Ah, that's all better. Sorry, over here. She's passing some fucking little cold here. But she's better now. I'm going to get off so I can take care of her, and I don't want to fucking cry. So you guys have a great night. And I wish you peace and wealth. Oh, but before I go, we're going to be filthy fucking rich.
Yeah, you don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoked through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through. You don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoked through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through. Now I'm sipping on this whiskey. Got one chance and it's risky, so you can't play around. And I got my team behind me like a background. I don't never back down, picking up the slack now. Now I'm focused, keep on grinding for my stacks now. I'm feeling lost in this ocean, where's a lighthouse? I keep on swinging for the fence and I ain't strike out. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling, yeah, that's how I'm feeling now. We're not here for a long time, yeah. It's 9 to 5, it's a long grind, yeah. A ladder to success, it's a long climb, yeah. Now I'm sitting here making up for time, yeah. Man, I took so many losses that I lost count. I didn't know what I was made of, but I found out. And this life will blindside, you better look out. These haters wanna see you fall and get you took out. Yeah, cause I fell on my face. And this life is a race, I keep on checking my place. Now I'm riding for my team, you can tell by my plates. And this life just threw a hook, it caught me right in the face. But I'm getting back up, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll climb a couple of mountains, I'll swim a couple of lakes. Don't got time for the bitching, don't got time for complaints. Now you going through some shit, now tell me how does it taste? You don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoke through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through. You don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoke through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through. Now I'm living with my choices, I just own my mistakes. Cause I'm screaming fucking hand out, I ain't searching for breaks. But I'm barely treading water and this life is the lake. Now the pressure keeps on building as I'm raising the stakes. I ain't looking for advice, now I'm looking for space. Now I'm dealing with these losses, but I know I hate the taste. Now I'm sitting back, I'm thinking as I smoke it to the face. Now it's time for these apologies, the time it's too late. So bygones be bygones, I'm on business with a tie on. So fuck a shoulder to cry on, I'ma get a hoppin' like Zion. Let's raise a glass, I'll toast that. Reminisce, we roast that. How I wrote them and ain't wrote back. I'm never flimsy, the goat's back. So I don't feel bad, no not at all. When a lot of years, write a lot of calls, a lot of birthdays without a call. Ain't got time for that, so fuck a fraud. You ain't there for me, I ain't there for you. You won't bleed for me, I won't bleed for you. All the hard times I lived through, keep moving, gotta get through. I got goals and cash, I gotta get to. All these memories that I flipped through. If you can't relate, then don't judge. I'll stand my ground, I won't budge. I'm sitting back cause I burn buds. I swear to God, this life's good. You don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoke through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through. You don't know all the shit that I've been through, all the pain and the struggle that I lived through. Now I'm rolling up these papers that I smoke through, thinking about all the shit that I've been through.